Hey, what's up? Welcome. This is I'm Gianluca and I,
My name is Marcus Solbes-Moran.
I'm Mr. Lawrence Gallow.
and we're here to interview Mr. Gallow, and he's going to answer some of our questions, and we're going to learn a lot about him, his organization, and sort of do some oral history.
Amen.
Yeah. So I've always been bad at intros, so let's just go along with it, I guess.
I'm ready.
All right.
Hi, I'm Mr. Lawrence Gallow, and they're interviewing me about the history of my life here as a native in Oak Park, California, and in Sacramento, California, as a Western Service Workers Association organizing committee as well as a Benny-2 coordinator. I've been representing the office for several years. Since I was 8 years old, my auntie and mother used the services when it was on 10th Avenue and Stockton Boulevard at 3500. It was called Homemakers Association. And yes, I've been a native of Sacramento for over 58 years. And so my mom was able to pay for our house of raising the 4 boys by working at Libby's Cannery on Stockton Boulevard in Alhambra. She worked there for several years and got overtime and was able to obtain the deeds to our house, the pink slip to the house, after working so hard for us, and raised us 4 boys up and sent us to school and served us breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks and dressed us very decently with our hairs cut. So yes, that's just the legacy of my mother. And so my father worked at the rice mill. He was a great guy, Mr. Calvin Lawrence Gallow, shall I say. And I had a stepfather. He came from New Orleans. He was a carpenter from the military. He was in World War II. His name was Otis Webb, and he was an awesome house builder and electrician. He did the wiring in the houses, and he taught us how to do that at an early age. So yeah, we had a full-fledged carpenter and a rice mill worker, and my mom worked at Libby's Cannery and was able to pay for our house when we was younger. So now we're all older. We're moving on to the things that we're doing today in 2025. I could say that during the years of me coming up, I went to Homemakers Association on Stockton and 10th Avenue when I was 8 years old with my mother, Henry Eaton, and Beverly Eaton, my auntie, which stayed on the same street, 10th Avenue. At 3500 was the address to the Homemakers Association, right at the corner of Stockton and 10th. And yeah, I remember when I was little, we went there, and I remember getting some good food to eat when my mom and auntie used the services. And so I've been following Western Service Workers Association ever since. And so I'm generational, because I do have a 12-year-old that helps out with the distribution from Midtown Church, where we do the Christmas and Thanksgiving boxes and also the toys for the kids. And Sac State students volunteer to come and deliver to every recipient that signs up with Western Service Workers Association distribution holiday campaign that we do every year. So yes, what questions do you have for me?
Wow. Let's see. I guess to start from the top. You already answered that. What your name is?
Yes, Mr. Lawrence Gallow. Yes. Very proud of it.
Very good.
Yes.
You've answered when and where you were born.
Yes, Sacramento, California. I was born at, it was called the Old County Hospital. Now it's called UCD Medical Center.
Oh.
And so all 4 of my brothers and I was born at the county hospital back when it was called the county hospital, but now it's UCD. My mom had all 4 of us boys there, and we was born and raised here in Sacramento, California, a native of Oak Park, California.
Wow. Okay, moving to the next question.
Yes.
What was your early life like? How did it shape your view of the world?
Well, my early life was very good because my mom worked hard and made sure we had good food to eat and a full belly before we went to school every day. We went to school. And on the weekends, we would go to the church and give out food to the homeless and the hungry too. My mom opened up a food locker at Christ Temple Apostolic Church. So we was able to follow in her footsteps and stay out of trouble by doing the things she did with being a prayer warrior at Christ Temple and her religion that we followed. So yeah, we pretty much all grew up to be very successful. I could tell you that now. All four of my brothers has been very successful in today's time in 2025.
Wow. All right. Here, the next question. When did you start working in the canneries? What was life like in Sacramento at this time?
Well, actually, my mother worked at Libby's Cannery back in, I would say it was in the 70s, and she worked all the way up until we got older. And she was able to pay for our house with the money she made at Libby Canneries because she had full benefits and lots of overtime that she obtained. They loved her as an employee because she did a great job. And so she was able to purchase the house we lived on West Nichols. It was 4329 West Nichols, right behind Christian Brother High School. And our house is still there with our names on the sidewalk. So yeah, if you have any questions about that area, I would definitely answer your questions. But yeah, that's where the cannery part came in. Me, myself, I worked at Midterm Air Force Base in the commissary meat department as a butcher. I had been a butcher for several years there. And I worked and was able to pay other people bills and rent with the money I made. I also paid for my car and all bills paid and lots of food for everyone. I was able to help my family through the struggles back then with the money that I made at Midterm Air Force Base with full benefits. And so since then, Ronald Reagan shut down the base, then I had to move on to a different job after that. And so I moved on to Regional Transit downtown. I was a janitor there. And I worked there several years as a temp agency. Through a temp agency, I worked there, and I earned pretty good money, but not like the money I made at Midterm Air Force Base. Those jobs is just not available anymore. Now you have to go through a lot of temp agencies, or you have to have major degrees to get the good jobs that's going to pay you what your time is worth nowadays. So yeah, if you have any further questions about that, I could definitely answer them for you.
What was life like back in Sacramento at this time?
Oh, back then, it was a lot of racism going on, and it was camouflaged to a degree, but we had to really, struggle through the jobs and making sure that, we got our fair share of the labor that we put out was being treated appropriately. So it was a struggle back then when I was coming up, but times has changed since then, and it's been a lot better. But it still exists, racism, but it's camouflaged. But I don't worry about that because in the ministry that I'm in, I reach out and help a lot of people with what I do every day, daily. So yeah, we do medical, dental, and legal help. We also give you emergency food and clothes, as well as meetings to give you knowledge why we exist for you. It's based upon low-paid workers' rights. That's what we are founded upon. From Homemakers Association to Western Service Workers Association today at 5040 Perry Avenue. All low-paid workers' rights for the work wages that they earn today. We come together to form a fist to make a difference in numbers and trying to get things changed with the way these temp agencies are making us do slave labor today for just a little bit under minimum wage, which is not enough to pay the utility bills, pay your rent, and pay your grocery bills, which is constantly going up and up, but your paycheck don't go up. So that's where we come in for the low-paid workers' rights, to come together to form a fist to make a difference with what the struggles are that we go through today. And so that's why we have our union, that we work with all the low-paid workers that used to work, that was making good wages, and now all they offer now is temp agency, and even people with degrees is not getting paid what their degrees are worth. And so most of them have to accept what they have on the table just to make ends meet. So we make sure all our members have a meeting on Thursday nights, and we come up with solutions to the problems that they face in today's society, with the government always taking away from those that's getting government funding. And I do know there's been people that's on SSI, and by them being on SSI receiving government funding, they have rules to go with that. And so now they have a rule to where if you have 3 or 4 children and you on government funding like SSI, they cut the children's food budget, which is the EBT, from $400 to $96. So if you receiving government funding and SSI, they don't care how many children that you have, they're cutting their stamps down, or their EBT benefits down to $96 because you're receiving government funding. And so the children have to suffer from month to month, because $96 is not enough to provide through 30 days for the 3 or 4 children that you're raising. Right. So now the government is now giving flyers at the human resource centers for them to go to food lockers and food banks, places who have emergency food closets, to get food to make ends meet from month to month. And so that's one problem that we've been facing daily in our office. People always coming in for emergency help because they've been cut and they can't pay their SMUD and PG&E bills, and we're actually assisting them with that through the HEAT program for the SMUD and PG&E, and that's been really successful with a lot of the members that's members of our organization. So that's one thing that a lot of people really accommodate us for, helping them with.
Wow. Following up on that, would you say that there were any experiences in your youth that kind of revealed to you the crisis that we see in terms of our poverty, things of that nature?
Poverty that we're facing today?
Yes.
Yes, we did experience some of that, but not as much as others, because my mom did have the good job to provide, and my father worked at a rice mill, so he helped too, and then my stepfather was a carpenter, so he also helped. So we wasn't really struggling for food like a lot of people are today. Now they have to wait in lines that starts at 3 o'clock in the morning. If they're not there in line to get their number early in the morning, like 3 a.m., we know a person that does that over in West Sac. She has to be there at 3 a.m. and wait there until they open in order to get food for her family, because she don't get enough income to feed her family, because she's on SSI and her food stamps was cut to $96 with 4 kids in their household. So they give her this flyer over in West Sac where she lives at, and she has to go early in the morning and wait in line just to get the box of food. And you don't know what's in the box. It's just whatever they give you. So yeah, I mean, it's a struggle for those that faces these crises today. And so one thing that we do is make sure that we give them the proper resources and the people to help them get through these struggles that they're going through. That's what our organization do for low-paid workers' rights.
Yeah.